Hello and welcome to this little overview of the core studies paper. So 50% is worth the same amount, same number of marks, same number of minutes, an hour and a half at first year, 2 hours for the A-level paper. Introduces some of the central ideas and investigations organised into key themes. So we've got the classic and the contemporary studies for each of the areas, and we've also got the two perspectives. So let's have a quick look at it. That's the research maths paper. Here we are. So you've got an hour and a half, so you've got about 1 minute 28 per marks, because you've got 75 marks to get. Okay, so here we go. Section A is all going to be about the core studies. They're going to be short answers, 2 4 markers, 1 from most of the studies. Not all of them, as you can see here on the spec paper, are asked. Sometimes they'll just ask you 8, but sometimes if you're asked for a similarity and difference, you've got Sperry and Casey mentioned in one question there, and then they don't appear again. So there you go, short answers. The key thing is remember to underline one difference. Okay, 2 kinds of information, suggest 1 strength, how participants responded. Okay, how, look for those key words and link back to the study. Always make sure you're talking about something from Bocciaro if it's a question on Bocciaro, so contextualizing back to the study. But a lot of where you'll win and lose this one is A, in your revision, just getting as much of it remembered as you can, but B, in underlining, in checking that you are answering the question. So often students will misinterpret the question just because they're rushing, so make sure you really do underline. Okay, section B is about the areas, perspectives and debates. So you need to know for these your assumptions, you need to know your theories. There's usually a background theory for each study, but the area assumptions have the key words there. For social, for example, it's the influence of other people around us, the influence of society on our behaviour. Learn those, and then you can justify what. How does biological psychology explain behaviour? You've got the assumptions there. You could also refer to the methods of the biological approach. It's just a strength of claiming that behaviour is only down to nature. Now, it's unlikely that you'll be asked for strengths and weaknesses of debates because it isn't on the spec, so that may well not be asked actually. But you could, you're going to have to think on your feet a little. But if that question was on there, strength of claiming behaviour is down due to nature is that we are able to produce medicines, we're able to produce biological interventions, we're able to help people who've had strokes, for example, with the biological research, anything to do with genetics. Or you can go down the route of, well, strength of claiming behaviour due to nature is that the research used is often highly controlled, uses technical equipment, all of those things that you associate with nature and the biological, so genetics and technical equipment. Point, example, comment. Again, underline 1. If you talked like I did just then about several strengths, you're only going to get marks for one of them, so make sure you PEC. A strength is technical equipment. For example, Casey uses fMRI scans to compare the high versus the low delays. This means that research that investigates nature is highly controlled and scientific, and it's likely to be reliable. So PEC them for 3 marks. These could also be strengths and weaknesses of whole areas or perspectives. How any one core study can be considered to be located within a particular area, or it could say explain how one core study could be considered to support nurture as an argument, or explain how one core study could be considered to explain how the situation affects our behaviour. You're looking to describe for at least 2 or 3 marks the one core study, but you want to relate it to the area of social, or to the debate of situational, or whatever it is that they are asking you to analyse. Okay, so describe it but link it as you go, and again, if you know your assumption keywords, you'll be able to do that. One course study is Milgram, and he investigated the influence of a prestigious university, an authority figure, the influence of a authority figure. You link that to the fact that social psychology investigates the influence of the people around us, and so you use the terms from the area's assumptions whilst you're describing the study, and you'll pick up lots of marks. Discuss the extent to which psychology can be viewed as a science. So this is an example of a debate question for 12 marks. So you want to talk about, you simply want an essay. Here's some things that make psychology scientific. 2 things, PEC. Here's some things that don't make psychology scientific, PECs. Okay, so technical equipment, quantitative data. There's 2 things. Give examples from core studies. Weaknesses. Sometimes it's based on unscientific methodology, like case studies or like qualitative data. Sometimes some of the theories lack scientific credibility. Use our friend Sigmund Freud as an example. So just 2 reasons for, 2 reasons against. Break down what it's asking, and if you can PEC, then PEC. Evidence from core studies, those are your E's, those are your examples. Okay, but you're going to have to think on your feet in these. You're going to have to be prepared for anything, interpret the question, and make sure you fill it with issues and examples, and linking back to the question as you go. They're looking for fluent essays here. They're looking for you to show that you understand the wider things about psychology, the wider areas and perspectives and debates. Section C is one where they want you to practically apply what you've learnt to a real life scenario. Okay, so the likelihood is they'll give you an article like this one, and then they'll ask you, why is it relevant to social? One course study that can explain their behaviour, and come up with a training programme or a way of assisting this behaviour. Now, can I refer you to the 12 mark video that's on the same page that you found this, please? Sorry, not the 12 mark video, that's for research methods. I mean the section C article practice video, which you will find next to this video, because I go into a lot of detail about how to answer these. Okay, and that's it. Those are your 3 sections. Keep an eye on your time. Broadly, a minute per mark. If you stick to a minute per mark on these, then you save yourself a few extra minutes on sections B and C. But you shouldn't be going over 15 minutes, for example, for a 12 marker, or 6 minutes for question D. The worst thing you can do is get to section C and have no time left, because that's a guaranteed U grade. You simply will not pass if you don't keep an eye on that clock. Keep it moving, keep it ticking. Okay, thanks for listening, folks.